Welcome to the Entrepreneur Insider Secrets podcast. Excited to be able to spend time with you again today, talking about some important things for growing an online business as an expert and as a coach, course creator, speaker, trainer. These are topics that are going to be very, very important to you. And today we're talking about something that is a little bit of a hard one. This is a little bit of a difficult one to process and go through, but it's also very, very critical. Today, we're going to be talking about the identity shift from expert to entrepreneur. Now, when most of us get started in this business, we're looking at coaching, we're looking at creating courses or digital content, books, whatever it may be, speaking, training, all those types of things. And we're doing so because we have some level of expertise in something. We know things about something. We have some expertise in an area that has been recognized, expertise that is important to us, and that has been viewed as valuable by other people. And we want to be able to go out and do that for a living. We want people to hire us as a coach, hire us to speak, hire us to create content for them, and to do that because we love doing that work. We love being a part of it. We love spending our time doing that, and we feel very fulfilled doing it. And we know that we can make a difference in people's lives doing those types of things. And so we are very much interested in pursuing it, and we become an expert in our own little niche. And it's all justified. You spent the time. You've got the years of experience. You've got all those hours that you've worked in this area, and you've earned your stripes, so to speak. You've earned it. You are highly qualified in what it is that you do. But now that we want to shift from being really good at something to being an expert at something to doing a business around that thing, there's a shift that needs to happen. There's a shift that needs to occur if we're going to actually become a successful business owner, if we're actually going to have a successful business around the thing that we love to do. This is where the rubber meets the road, because we have to have a bit of a shift in our identity for this to work. We have to shift from just being an expert who's really good at something to being an entrepreneur who can actually take that thing and turn it into a business. Now, we're going to be talking about three things today that I think are going to be probably very challenging for many people to hear, for very, very, difficult and things, but they're also very, very critical. They're very important to hear. So we're going to get started on today. Is the first thing we're going to talk about is when you're an expert, you focus on delivery. When you're an entrepreneur, you focus on direction. Now, what do I mean by that? When you're an expert, you are focused on helping your client get whatever result it is that you're helping them get. You're focused on, this is what I'm good at. I'm going to help you get the result. I'm going to help you achieve whatever it is that I promised I would help you achieve. And this is what I'm good at. Boom, here we go. Done. Great. Okay. But when you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to build a business around this skill set, you now need to focus on the direction that your work is taking. You can't just be focused on just being an expert anymore. You now have to create a system and a process and a structure that's going to allow you to take the expertise that you've developed and turn it into income. Because without the income, you're never going to get any further. You're never going to be able to succeed. You're never going to be able to grow because the money just simply won't be there to be able to make it happen. And so what ends up happening is a lot of people have trouble making this transition. They have trouble getting from where they are to where they need to be because they're so focused on their delivery. They're so focused on what they're going to deliver to the other person, to their person they're working with. They're so focused on dealing with whatever the client's issues are, dealing with whatever the client is struggling with, that they're not thinking about how they need to build the business. They're not thinking about how they need to structure the business. They're not thinking how they need to position the business. So when you're constantly thinking about, okay, the client has, I'm working with a client and they need this, and this has taken up all my time and energy just trying to deliver the results to them. I get it. It happens to all of us. We end up spending so much time and energy working on how do we just deliver the results to our client? How do we get them what they need so they're happy and I get paid? But at the end of the day, we end up realizing is that we build ourselves a little bit of a trap. We have built this situation where we're dependent on that situation, and that situation is taking up all of our time and energy. And we've essentially just created a job for ourselves. We have a couple clients, we have people that we're working to help and to resolve things for and to take care of things for. And that ultimately becomes, all of our focus. We don't have time to sit down and think about, well, how can I actually build a business that doesn't just serve my client, because I still want to do that, but also serves me and takes care of my needs and is building something that means I'm not going to be on call 24/7. I'm not going to be whipped around every time I turn around that I have to go chase after whatever the client is demanding now, that I can actually have a life, that I can have an actual good, solid, steady income coming in a way that is going to be good for me. And that requires thinking about things other than just helping deliver the result to the client. And I'm not minimizing that. Do not get me wrong. I'm not saying we don't think about delivering for the client. We absolutely still are. But we have to start shifting our focus to okay, how can I do this in such a way that I can actually scale it, that I can actually grow a business around it, so that I can actually do this without me doing everything by myself, without me chasing every little thing down on my own. How can I actually build a business around this? Because a business is actually there to create a system and a process to deliver the results to the client without you being involved at every single step of the way. That's what the business is designed to do. So what ends up happening is we have to shift our thinking. We have to shift our thought process away from, hey, I'm going to be thinking only about the result that I'm getting from my client. We have to be thinking about, how can I deliver this process? How can I deliver this service in such a way that it's systematic? How can I deliver this process in such a way that it gets done and it doesn't involve me doing every single little step all the way from the beginning to the end? How can I deliver the result in such a way that I can do not just one client or two clients, but I can do 50 clients without killing myself, without stressing myself out to the point where I can't even think straight because I'm exhausted? No, I need to create a system. I need to think about direction. I need to think about leverage. How can I use a system? How can I use a process? How can I do different things differently so that they still get the result? They still get what they need, but it's not me delivering every single step manually. How can I build a system and a process? And this, so we have to really start asking ourselves the question, are we spending most of your time delivering your service or designing your business? Those are two very different things. Those are two very, very different processes. And as a result, one of them is going to take care of your client today. One of them, the delivering the result part, is going to take care of whatever your client's needs are for today. You're going to get them what they need. You're going to deliver the results. You're going to give them the things that they're looking for. The other one is designing a system and a process and a structure that's going to allow you to serve multiple clients in a systematic and efficient way. It's a shift in your thinking. You have to stop thinking about, what do I need to do to solve this problem for them, to how can I create a process? How can I create a process that is going to serve my clients in such a way that is not all dependent on me doing all the work? How can I deliver results that are going to allow me to scale, that are going to allow me to grow, that are going to allow me to do things that are different than what I'm doing now, which is taking up all my time just trying to get them the results. So that's step number one. Step number two is entrepreneurs take ownership of growth, not just results. Now, here's the thing. Most of the time when you are an expert, when you're starting out, and that's where most of us do start out in all of this, we start out as an expert in what it is that we do. We're good at our thing, that the thing that we do, that's our gift. And so we're an expert there. And then over time, we want to build that into a business. And as a part of this, we want to focus so much on in the beginning on doing a great job. I hear this all the time. I want to overserve my clients. I want them to all be happy, with the hope that you're going to get a referral, right? They're going to be so happy. They'll say, hey, you should also go and check out this person because they did a great job for me. And you're hoping that just by being a great person, by doing a great job, by providing great service, that the leads and the growth are naturally going to come. And that's an expert's opinion. That's an expert's point of view. An entrepreneur's point of view is, I'm going to take ownership of growing my business. I'm going to intentionally go out and do things to promote the work that I'm doing. I'm going to intentionally go out and try to get people to sign up. I'm not just going to sit here and hope that I get a referral, that everybody is so incredibly happy that they just refer business to me. Because this is something that I've learned over the years. Typically what ends up happening is when you give and give and give to your client gets used to that. Your client becomes very accustomed to the fact that you're on call all the time, that you respond to emails and texts and calls at all hours of the day, that you will drop everything that you're doing and go and work on whatever they need at that moment. And I've seen this far too many times, over and over and over, where the client just becomes very used to, you're kind of, you just do whatever I want. I bark and you jump. And that becomes just kind of the understanding. And what ends up happening is they start taking you for granted. They just assume that this is just how it is. And they're actually getting 2 to 3 times more than what you were originally supposed to provide. That happens all the time. Like I see this, and people feel then unappreciated. And I see this, I talk to people, and I've talked to, quite a few people over the years who all of a sudden one day they wake up and go, I don't want to do this anymore. And I go, why? What's going on? I don't feel respected. I don't feel appreciated. I don't feel valued. And it's the product of giving and giving and giving and pouring your heart and soul into things and having the other person just say, okay, great, thanks. And not truly appreciating how much extra you put into it for them. Not truly appreciating how much heart and soul you poured into all these things, how you went above and beyond. They're not taking it and appreciating it. They're taking it for granted. So they just keep pulling and asking for more. I had one lady a couple years ago, 2 to 3 years ago, I was talking to her at an event, and she was very, very good at what she did. Very good. She's very good at social media, very good about getting people to, help them grow their social media presence, to get leads and so forth for their business. And she had this one client that was like, it's just running her straight into the ground. And she was a mom and a wife and had several children. I don't remember how many, but she had several. And I could just see the look in her eyes. She was just desperate. She was dying. She was just like, I can't keep going at this pace. It's killing me. Because, working till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, and then trying to take care of the kids and get the kids what they need, and then trying to take care of your house, trying to support and all this, you're just dying. And I'm going, what was the agreement when you agreed to work with her? Because she was not an employee. She is a independent contractor that's getting paid I think it was a flat monthly fee for doing what she's doing. And they just more or less were treating her like a slave. They were running her straight into the ground and taking advantage of her. And I said, look, you have to put up boundaries. You have to set up walls and say, look, my availability to you is from these hours to these hours. If you need me after that, you can send me a message and I'll respond to you the following day. I am not available to you at 10:30 at night. I'm not going to hop on a call at 10 o'clock and go solve something that you just blew up. I'm not going to sacrifice all of my life for you. And what ends up happening is resentment builds. You start feeling very, very resentful of the fact that you're in here slitting your wrist to deliver a result. And you quickly realize is that you put yourself into a trap. You put yourself into a situation where you're delivering an amazing result for this client or for your clients if you have multiple ones. But the person who's getting killed is you. You're not building the business that you dreamed of. You have clients, you have a handful of clients or a couple clients, and they're paying you, so you are earning income and you are having a business. That is all true, but it's not a business that's ever going to grow because you got everything that you can handle just trying to deliver the result. It's killing you. You're tapped out. You have hit the complete ceiling of what it is that you do, which is why what my first point was, you have to start thinking strategically. If you want to actually grow a business, you have to find a way to deliver the result that doesn't involve you killing yourself. That doesn't involve you slitting your wrist and sacrificing everything in your life to get there. That's not a business. That's signing yourself up to be taken advantage of. And we've all been there. We all start out in these situations with really pure and good intentions of wanting to do the right thing, of taking great care of our clients, of performing a great service because we love what we do. We want our clients to be happy. But ultimately what ends up happening is the client just keeps taking advantage. And most of the time it's not even intentional. They get just used to the fact that you're always available. So I can just text them at whatever time. I can email them at whatever time or call them and I can get an answer. Great. Just keep running to them. Okay. That's not a business. That's you being taken advantage of. That's you being used for their benefit. If you want to do that, you have to put on those constraints. You have to have the vision of saying, this is what my business does. These are the constraints. These are these services that I provide. You need to have an agreement, which is what I told this lady. So do you have an agreement with them? Have you written down in a document and said to them, these are the services that I provide for you for this amount of money every single month? Because she kind of had an understanding of what she was going to provide for this monthly rate, and they had just blown straight past it and are taking complete and total advantage of her. Now, again, many times this is not even intentional. This isn't even something that they're doing. There's just so many things going on, and they quickly recognize the fact that, hey, you're really good at this. Well, give it to them. They'll help. They'll solve it. I'll give it to them again and again, and it just becomes a pattern. It's not that they're even trying to be this way. It just becomes by default because you're an expert in what it is that you do. You're really good at it. And as a result, you put yourself in a position where you're constantly going to get asked. You're constantly going to be given things to do. So, number one, take control of the structure of what it is that you're doing. The vision of how your business is going to, how it's going to be laid out, the services that you're going to provide. How can you give a great result without giving up all of your life and all of your time? Number two, don't rely on super serving and giving up everything with the hope of getting a referrals to grow. Because you don't have any extra space to grow anyway. You don't have, and referrals are great and they are wonderful and they do happen and they are a part of it. But you need to be able to take time and take ownership of growing the business yourself. There needs to be a section of every part of your day where you could focus on marketing, on bringing in new clients, on reaching new people. Those are the things that you have to do if you're going to grow your business. You need to take control of that. You can't hope that they're just going to say, be so happy that they're going to refer somebody. No, they don't want to refer anybody. They want to keep you for themselves. They don't want you to go off and work for someone else because then they're going to lose out. So you're doing such a great job that they just want to hold on to you and not share. So these are the things that you have to control the structure. You have to control the direction of what it is that you're doing and say, I will go here, but not there. I will go this far, but no further. And now I am going to take control of the growth of my business. I am going to take control of the process of actually getting new clients. I'm not going to hope that they just happen. I'm going to step in and take ownership of that, which then leads us to point number 3, which is to get there, we frequently have to let go of some control. Now, this means that when we first start out, we do everything ourselves. We know exactly how we like things done. We know the right way to do things. We know the wrong way. We know what works. We know what doesn't work. So we have our hands on every single part of the process. And the client appreciates that because they know you do a great job. They know you're really good at it, but we have our hands on every part of the process. But at the end of the day, unless you have a cloning machine that can make multiples of you, you're very much tapped at the ceiling of what you can do. There's a very distinct limit on what you are capable of handling because you are doing everything manually. You're doing everything by hand yourself. So the only way to get past this, the only way to actually grow, the only way to actually have a business that's actually going to provide you that income that you want without killing you is you have to let go of some of the control. You have to be willing to set up systems. You have to be willing to bring in another person. You need to be willing to automate processes. So instead of you always customizing all the results and customizing every response, here's the response. Here's an FAQ page on my website. If you have questions, please go here. I answered all these questions here because I've learned I keep answering the same questions. Please go read this. You'll find my responses and my answers right there. Or there's automated, you create a PDF or you create a guide that takes care of some of the more things and they can read it for themselves instead of having to have you sit there and repeat it to them over and over again. These are things. Or this is one that was always tough for me, was I had to learn to bring other people in. I had to learn. Now, again, it was hard because we tried bringing certain people in and those people did not work out well and they did not do a good job on what needed to be done. There was lots of mistakes being made and then they would screw things up pretty royally and I would have to go back in and fix it all. And they ultimately were just making things worse. So there is that challenge in there, admittedly. But the other side of the coin is the only way you're going to grow is you have to keep searching until you find somebody who can take care of it. And then when you do, you find that person who is capable of handling the work, who does have the talent, who does in the right ways, who has the right kind of skill set, and who can handle it. You need to then walk away. You need to turn it over to them and walk away and hand them the keys to it. And even if it isn't 100% the way that you would do it, what it did was it freed you up and it got all the things done that needed to be done. Maybe they're 85 to 90% of the way there, but you got to be willing to let that be good enough for the sake of growing your business, for the sake of moving forward. You can't be holding on to everything being perfect, because when you do that, you're holding back your ability to grow. You're holding back your ability to achieve the next level. You're holding back your ability to become the business owner and the entrepreneur that you're supposed to be. You have to be willing to understand that to grow a business, it's about having systems in place. When you go to a restaurant, for example, you don't walk in and have, talk to the person at the front desk. They'll go, okay, great. What would you like to eat? Okay, great. I'll be right back. I have to go to the grocery store. I have to get all the ingredients. I have to go in the back. I have to make everything from scratch. I have to make the bread from scratch. It'll be about 3 or 4 hours, and then I'll have your food. No, that's not how it works. You go there and you have one person who's there to seat you and to get you to where you need to be able to sit. And you have another person who's going to be there to take your order. You have another person who's in the kitchen who has all the food, and a lot of the food is pre-made. It's already, the tomatoes already all sliced, the lettuce is already cut, the bread is already made, whatever it may be. A lot of the things are already prepped and done. They systematically created a process so they can kick things out quickly. You have to have that same mindset for your own business. How can I create systems and processes so not only do I not have to do everything by myself by hand, my clients are actually going to get better results faster because they're going to get it. Because if you go to a restaurant, you got to sit there and wait for the person to go grocery shopping based on what you ordered, wait for the person to make everything from scratch, you're going to get really hungry. You're going to be sitting there for hours waiting for all that. You appreciate the fact that they have systems in place and processes so that within, a few minutes later, you have your meal, whatever it was that you ordered. Your clients are going to appreciate it as well, even if it means letting go of control, even if it means letting go of everything being exactly the way you like it, just perfectly. Let go. Let go of all the control, get the things done so that you can grow the business. And again, what this mindset shift is really about is when we start this, we really are focused on doing the thing that we're good at, the thing that we love to do. We want to be able to do the thing, and we're still doing the thing. But now our mindset has to shift around marketing and selling and growing a business around that thing. Our mindset has to shift from being just a expert and a service provider to someone who can actually build a business, to someone who's building a business around that skill set. That is an identity shift. We are no longer just a person who knows how to do something. We're now becoming a person who knows how to market that something, who knows how to build a business around that something, how to sell that something. It's a different shift. But if we're going to build a business, this is how we have to do it. These are the things that have to happen if we're going to be successful. If we're actually going to be able to build something that takes care of us and not just us sacrificing everything in our lives to take care of someone else. Not saying that we shouldn't focus on others. That is the purpose of our business. But we also need to build a business that takes care of us. Both need to be happening. So with all that being said, just to kind of wrap things up, if you're going to do this, I see this all the time with people who are experts. They're really good at what they do. They love what they do, but they're not so great at marketing what they do. They're not so great at selling and building a business around what they do. So as a result, even though they're highly, highly skilled at the thing that they are good at, they're not very successful financially because they struggle to get clients, even though they're amazing at the thing that they do. And you look at them and go, oh, if you could just get some more clients, people's lives would be so changed because of you working with them, because you're so good at what you do. But because they're struggling to do the shift from expert to entrepreneur, the business simply isn't growing. So if you want to do this, if you want to be successful, you need to be able to make that shift. You need to learn how to shift from just knowing how to be great at your thing to be learning how to become great at marketing and building a business around your thing. It's a shift, but it's critical for your success. And when you get there, when you take those steps, you create a future, you create a life, you create a structure that is beyond anything you could ever believe or imagine. Suddenly you're on stages that you never dreamed you would be on. You're experiencing income that is at levels you never thought you would ever achieve. You're experiencing a lifestyle you never thought. You're experiencing fulfillment at a level you never comprehended, all because you were able to shift and build a business around the thing that systematically serves your clients instead of you just killing yourself to take care of one or two people. So I hope this is helpful to you. I hope you understand why this is so important and why that mind shift is so important. If we can help you in any way, please check out designlaunchgrow.com. Check us out if you'd be interested in talking to us about how we can help you. Fill out an application. We would love to hear from you. Otherwise, I hope you have an amazing day, and I will talk to you again very soon. Take care.